Hi, we're Ralph and Lahni, and we're back with another episode of Planetary Calendar. And we're going to be talking about the forecast for December 2020.
Yes. So first, we're looking at the lunations. This may be the most powerful month of 2020. The first 2 weeks until the total eclipse on the 14th will be emotionally complex. Remember, we had an eclipse on the last day of November. So meditate, practice patience, and reflect on your life compassionately. Mercury accelerates and Venus relaxes. But most importantly, Jupiter and Saturn enter Aquarius, converging on the 21st at the first degree of Aquarius. This is called the Great Mutation traditionally. It's a reset point that starts the next 20-year economic cycle, illuminating technology, social action, and disrupting outmoded practices. The Capricorn-Cancer full moon on the 29th may seem anticlimactic after that, but there is great power now. Be energetic, aggressive, and look to the future. Consider whom to invite along because it's a good time to relax and be cozy with those you care about. We live in interesting times. Enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the days to watch starts off with the first, when Mercury enters optimistic Sagittarius, the funniest of positions, so rekindle your sense of humor. The White Circle Day is for moving projects. That's on the 5th, and also for starting new ones. On the 16th, Saturn enters dynamic, ruling sign Aquarius, so it's shaking the tree's foundations. A White Circle Day on the 19th is when Jupiter joins Saturn in Aquarius. And meanwhile, Mercury conjuncts the Sun, so there's a lot of sizzling energy there for you to tap into. The 20th, a very fast Mercury enters practical Capricorn. When Mercury is moving fast, as it is this month, as the month goes on, all kinds of communication issues go easier. On the 21st, the Sun enters Capricorn. This is the winter solstice and the first day of winter. Jupiter and Saturn are allied at 1 degree of Aquarius, and they are clearing the decks. The 24th is a lovely White Circle Day, an easy flow of energy producing wonderful conversations. And it's nice that the later part of the month, after the 24th, is relatively calm after the first 24 days.
Well, it does. It seems to be calm even before the 24th a little bit. I mean, the 24th that's an active day. But, they're pleasantly so from, there's not anything really, really too challenging. After the 21st is a little bit challenging, but after that, there's not even any aspects below the line. And you know how we do. We put the aspects above the line if they're harmonious aspects, and we put the aspects below the line if they are challenging aspects. And that's the last day with a challenge. Well, the 23rd has a square on.
Yeah, but it's also the fact
that not a big
that great conjunction is going to take place on the 21st at the winter solstice. This is going to be like having a big bell in a bell tower ring, and it's just going to resonate out for days afterwards. So, as you go up to the 24th to Christmas Day, you're going to still hear the echo of it in your ears, as you go on to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in that white circle. So there will definitely be a feeling of a major shift that is happening. And this energy, these once every 20-year resets are always big financial cycles. And in fact, this series of cycles has been studied extensively back to the 1600s about their effect on financial cycles. So the fact that is happening at the first degree of Aquarius is very telling. When the first degree of a sign is always very powerful. It's like the threshold.
Well, and there is also a cycle of that ebb after all of those retrogrades. You know, we have everything direct right now except for Uranus, which benefits from being retrograde a little bit because it kind of reins in that Uranus unpredictability. So at least for somebody with strong Earth in their chart,
Right.
I feel like it's a little bit more stabilizing when Uranus is retrograde, especially in Taurus. That is not to say that that's not without its own challenges, but you know, everything is direct. So everybody's kind of moving forward, and they know what they're supposed to do. It's kind of reassuring for people after a lot of turbulence in the year.
As I recall, I believe Uranus goes direct in January.
Right.
As I recall.
One can only hope.
Yes. So this has been it's been quite a year, and to have it wrap up with such a finale is very dramatic. And you know, some of the difficulties we talked about during the springtime, where we warned that this was going to be a time of great economic compression, that Saturn was really kind of grinding the economy under its heel. And we were hopeful that as Saturn moved into Aquarius, things would change a bit. And there was, you know, in terms of having a greater sense of a global village of people being willing to work interactively. And that's the energy of Aquarius. Aquarius is, you know, it takes place in the deep winter, and it's that part of the year in which the community oftentimes helps each other. You know, certain people in a small village would realize some people are running out of food, or some people have this and someone else has this, and so therefore they have to trade. Aquarius is very involved with the marketplace, and then also it's the time of year in which you make changes, because it's not the major growing cycle, but it's preparation for the next growing cycle. So things that didn't work last year, you can change that time of year in preparation for the new year. Where Capricorn is the old model, Aquarius is the new model.
Well, and I think that things just feel comfortingly more stable when we move into Capricorn with the, you know, and that might just be a personal thing for me. You know, it's a little hectic, chaotic. You know, when you just think about it, of the logic of what the season's like, you know, in the beginning part of December, you're like rushing around and trying to get shopping done and, you know, dealing with the internet and the people and all that kind of stuff. By the time the 21st rolls around the sun's into Capricorn, you know, you're wrapping gifts. You're not buying gifts anymore unless you haven't planned well. And, you know, that's a whole other kettle of fish. But, you know, it starts to get, like, everything starts to kind of fall into place in Capricorn. And you get to enact your traditions. And you also start to think about your plan for the coming year. You know, that's the natural effect of the sun in Capricorn. It's, you know, you've had the marketplace, you've had the, you know, the hubbub of the outer world community or whatever, and now you've got to sort of pull yourself up and say, do we have a plan for this coming year? You know, it's only a week and a half away from the new year. So by the time you've got to Capricorn, you should be kind of consolidating things.
Well, especially you consider that Mercury enters Sagittarius on the 1st, then it enters another sign on the 20th. So it's moving real quickly. You know, it's moving through Sag and gets to Capricorn. And that starting from the 14th, you have the total eclipse, the new moon eclipse. That's the
bookend to the one that we had in November.
Which is the beginning of a new cycle, right? The next day, Venus enters Sagittarius. The next day, the 16th, Saturn enters Aquarius. On the 19th, Jupiter enters Aquarius. On the 20th, Mercury enters Capricorn. And then on the 21st, Jupiter and Saturn are conjunct in Aquarius on the day when the sun crosses over the vernal equinox, the shortest day of the year. Boom! I mean, that's a pretty powerful, from the 14th to the 21st, that's a pretty powerful group of things happening. My suggestion, buy all the gift cards for Christmas in September, tuck them away, put your ideas for names, but by the time you get around to Christmas, you might rearrange them because maybe you'll be on the ins with some people and on the outs with others. But do all your shopping early. Do not wait till the last minute this year. This is not the year to wait till the last minute. and pick gift cards that you might be willing to use yourself, just in case, you have to
Someone
change up.
steps in it
Yeah.
in the last
Exactly.
week there.
Yeah, but once you get to that, right, once you get up to Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, the 24th, the white circle on the 24th, things really calm down. And what's very cool is that the equinox happens at the first quarter, or the solstice happens at the first quarter. So you're at a building stage. You're at the optimistic stage, which is nice because it means that after all this turbulence, things are looking up. Things are, and it's nice to be looking up as you enter the end of one calendar year and the beginning of another year. The term for astrologers is called masters of time, and for us it's a little bit more extreme because we do a calendar, so you get to really understand how people perceive time and how calendars function. And our current idea of December, it's December 31st and January 1st being the pivot point is out of sequence with the natural cycle, but these things do happen, and the calendar, the calendar functions well. But as a result, one of the great things about the planetary calendar was that it was designed first as an astrological calendar. It was designed as a place for astrological data that then a calendar was attached to reference it. As a lot of the calendars that are out there were designed as calendars, and then they just kind of added as an afterthought the astrological data. It's one of the reasons why all the data is very large on the calendar, so you can see it at a glance, all of the planets and aspects that are happening that are harmonious, the sextiles and the trines and the conjunctions, they're at the top, they're up. And the ones that are the squares and the oppositions, they're down. Those are the ones that are going to be challenging. It's just like, things that up here at waist height, that's easy to manage. Things are on the ground, you got to pick them up. It's going to be work. And this is how people think of these things. So it's designed that way to be at a glance. You can get a picture of how the day is going to function because it's first an astrological calendar instead of a calendar with astrology tacked on. It's one of the nice things about it. As we've worked with it over the years and as we became the publishers, we've developed additional insights about it, you might say.
Well, also, we have, spent a lot of time thinking about how to make it better and more useful. And, it's meant to be a tool so that you could live astrology every day, have it accessible so that you can make decisions based on it easily and quickly by just referencing the calendar.
And the meditations and the feng shui hints and the oils that we recommend are very geared to the lunation charts. We look at the charts and we analyze them. We get the message in the chart, and that's where we come up with these. And so let me do the meditation.
Yes.
Let me tell you about what the meditations are, because they're very powerful because they are part of this time of year. On the 14th, that new moon eclipse meditation, your optimism, hope, and cheerfulness create an expanding circle of joy that is a gift to those around you. Now the single oils, because this is the new moon, are, boy is this Christmassy and Sagittarian, either ginger, the most Sagittarian of herbs, or cinnamon, the most Christmassy of herbs.
It makes you kind of wonder who was paying attention when they linked these scents to traditional sort of,
astrologer, herbalist,
traditions,
obviously.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And then the December 29th full moon meditation. Infuse yourself with the light of a new era where we can all share our gifts and receive those of others in peace. And that's very much this paradigm that the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius is talking about. The blend is jasmine, the most lovely of scents, and cedar, the most stalwart of scents, together. And in the first one, on the 14th, you're going to place it in section 9, the most Sagittarian of sections, which is up in the front right part of the house. And on the 29th, you're going to place it in sections 4, middle of the back wall, and sections 10, the middle of the front wall. The back wall is your sense of home. The front wall is your connection to the outer world. And this helps you balance those two as you come to the conclusion of the calendar year. So wishing you a happy new year.
Health always in the coming year. And if you want to watch any of the previous or upcoming episodes, just connect with us at www.spaceandtime.com.
Be well.